Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it even Superman? Well, no. No, it is actually a bird with feathers. A crow, in fact. But though if it's just a normal, everyday, common or garden bird, or something from the dark mist of Celtic Ireland, is debatable in this case. But that isn't really for me to say. That decision shall be up to you. I merely present the facts as I know them. There are many fascinating figures from the folk tales of Ireland, and one of these is the Morrigan. Now, I'll be doing a full-length video about her later on, and this one is just a snippet, you might say, which may or may not have any actual connection with the Morrigan herself, depending on your point of view, you see. If you believe wholeheartedly in the old legends and the folk tales, or even if you think these may just have a bit of a grain of truth in them, well, then you will probably consider this to be the absolute proof of your convictions. If, however, you think the old tales are nothing more than too many pints of some alcoholic beverage, or the ravings of those who should be confined in a padded room for their own safety, then you will see it as simply a pile of what you should avoid stepping in while walking through a cowshed. That I leave entirely up to you. Now, the Morrigan. The Morrigan, always referred to as the Morrigan, known as the Phantom Queen or the Great Queen, was seen chiefly as a goddess of war and destruction, of chaos, a goddess of fate and the foretelling of doom, but also as a guardian of the land of Ireland. And given her warlike status, she was one who liked to hang around battlefields, just for the fun of it, you might say. Nothing like the entertainment of watching disembodied, severed heads rolling along on the ground, or yards of guts hanging out. Hours of fun you could have that way. And she might take the form of a raven or of a crow while enjoying the spectacle, those birds being closely associated with her, seen as her messengers, or even as she herself on occasions, because she was a shapeshifter. Of course, ravens and crows are scavenger birds, we know that, and the reason they might be drawn to battlefields with bodies and bits of bodies and things lying around all over the place is easy to understand. It is what you might call a free lunch. Yes. But given the Morrigan's fondness for battles, ravens and crows became forever associated with her. They were seen as her messengers, as I said, and in Ireland long ago, and, well, not so long ago in some places, if a crow or a raven were to sit there, just watching you, or if it were to circle around you above your head, circle around you, people would say, Ah, 'tis the Morrigan, she has her eye upon you. Oh, that she does. Which is the point of the story? Birds, crows, ravens. Well, rather one bird in particular. In this case it was a crow. Just an ordinary crow. Or was it? Now there's an ancient Neolithic passage grave, some 5,000 years old, near a place called the Knoll in the County Meath. And it was discovered quite by accident in 1949 when a woman who happened to be visiting the great burial mound at Newgrange, which is quite close by, remarked that, there was a mound just the like of that on a farm that belonged to her uncle, which nobody had ever heard of. Of course, the archaeologists got interested and they went along, and the mound was excavated and a great many objects were discovered in it, including the remains of some 60 burials. So they must have been dropping like flies around the place. The site is open to the public, but you have to get a key from a man who lives nearby. And no, it's a very interesting place to visit. Well worth a visit should you ever be in that location, containing many decorated stones in a vaulted chamber, and the acoustics. Yes, the acoustics inside are absolutely incredible. I heard a girl playing a cello in it. She used to go there apparently to practice because of the amazing sound the cello made inside the chamber. The sound of it was quite incredible. It was the sort of sound you would associate perhaps with a great cathedral. Quite amazing. Now, I visited Fornox several years ago, just after the cellist had left, in fact, with a shamanic group. And there are rituals that date back to ancient Celtic Ireland that the leader of the group performed outside the burial mound before we went in. These involve facing the 4 compass points and calling upon various representations of Celtic shamanic spirituality. Mother Earth, Father Sky, the great stag, the salmon of knowledge, the great creator, and so on, accompanied by a drumbeat. Oh, yes. Now, it is important to the story to bear in mind that there was not a bird of any description to be seen anywhere. And being up on the hill, we could see a long way in all directions. Not a thing with feathers on it was to be seen. As he was performing the ancient rituals and beating the drum, a crow suddenly appeared. And I say appeared because one moment the sky was empty, and the next, there it was, just like that. And then it flew down. It flew down and literally hovered over his head. Oh yes, it hovered. Now, while the act of hovering may be associated with hummingbirds, it's rather beyond the ability of crows. But this one clearly did not know that. And it hovered for a moment. Then it said, caw, as crows usually do, rose up, and up into the air. And then it was gone, just as it had appeared, like that. Now I said to the group leader, did you see that crow? And he said, yes, he did. Well, of course, he could hardly not have seen it, since it was nearly sitting on his head. And I said to him, perhaps the Morrigan. Perhaps the Morrigan has noticed your invocations and sort of dropped by to say hello. And he agreed with me, as I suppose he would. Now, as I said, if you believe in such things, you will see a visitation by the Morrigan as a reasonable explanation for the curious event. If you don't, well, then you'll probably say that the bird just snuck up on us and nobody happened to notice it. The hovering part, of course, is a little bit harder. But not being an ornithologist, I can't really give a defining opinion on that. Perhaps crows do hover. I would doubt it very much. It does seem rather unnatural, but there you are. So, that is my own personal little tale, possibly concerning the Morrigan, or at least a crow who obviously hadn't read the How to Fly instruction manual for crows. So, with that, I shall leave you to ponder upon the tale and make up your own mind. Goodbye for now.